Welcome everybody to the amazing world of the periodic table. Today's lesson I'm going to give you a little tour of the periodic table, how to read all this mumbo jumbo that's behind me. So the periodic table is a chart of all the elements. Some are man-made, some are naturally existing, but the periodic table is the chart that shows what the elements are called and a lot about them, a lot of properties about each of them. The periodic table is the ultimate cheat sheet about all the elements. Using this tool behind me and the handy dandy one you got in class for you to keep, that you will all love and cherish and take home and sleep with under your pillow at night and absorb all the periodic knowledge you can. The periodic table tells us things like the name of the element, the atomic number, how many protons, neutrons, electrons are in that atom. You can find a lot of information just by knowing how to read this chart. This chart looks complicated and it looks scary and there's lots of numbers and letters and things that probably don't make sense to you. Right now I'm going to show you how to read each one of these individual little boxes. At the end of this lesson, you will all know how to use this wonderful tool, the periodic table. Periodic table is a series of boxes, and each element is contained in one box. So if you look at your chart, you'll see there are, several elements, but each of them is divided into their own box. We're going to start right up at number one, first element on our chart, hydrogen. I'm going to use that for my example. So in hydrogen's box, the first thing you're going to see is a big letter. So for hydrogen, the letter that we see is H. This is its symbol. Each element gets its own symbol, and it is representative of the element's name. Sometimes the symbol makes sense, hydrogen, H, that makes sense. Other times it's a little tricky, and the symbol doesn't really go with the name, and I'll show you an example of that in a bit. So symbols right there in the middle. The next thing you're going to see is the element's name. So written in the top left corner of your periodic table, you will see the element's name, hydrogen. Hydrogen. You guys are going to be learning, I think it's about 1 through 50, the symbol and the element's name. Knowing those will make it a lot easier for you to do other things in the future in this class. So we are going to be taking some quizzes about symbols and names of elements so you get to know them. So learn one right now. H stands for hydrogen. At the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see a number. And these go up 1 all the way through 118, something called an atomic number. So hydrogen's atomic number, that's a number symbol, not a hashtag. Atomic number, hydrogen's atomic number is 1. Atomic number is going to tell us about the protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up our element, our atom. Underneath the name, we have one more number in the box, and this one is the atomic mass number. So for hydrogen, it's 1.0078. That last number, the not so pretty number with all the decimals, that's the atomic mass. So any box you have has these 4 things: symbol, name, atomic number, atomic mass. You can know those 4 things by just looking at any element's box. This is what you'll see on the periodic table for element number 19, potassium. This is one of those elements that the name and the symbol don't really go together. You just kind of have to memorize it. So whenever you see a K, that means potassium. Our atomic number is 19, and our mass number is 39.098. Looking at this box, we're going to be able to tell 3 things about our element. We're going to figure out how many protons, electrons, and neutrons are in a potassium atom. First thing you want to find is protons. The atomic number of an element stands for the number of protons that element has. So 19 is how many protons a potassium atom has. protons and electrons on the periodic table for these elements are always going to be the same. So if you have 19 protons, you're going to have 19 electrons. Really easy. The last one is neutrons, and this is the only one where you have to do a little bit of math. The periodic table doesn't just give it to you. To find the number of neutrons, you're going to take the mass number, so mass number minus the atomic number. So in our case here, we would take 39, and you can round to a whole number. So 39 minus 19 gives us 20 neutrons. Protons and electrons are always going to be the same. The number of neutrons might be a little bit different. Here's one more example of carbon. If you feel like you understand this, go ahead, skip over the carbon example. If you don't, pay attention, figure out how many protons, electrons, and neutrons are in a carbon atom. If we look at the carbon's box on the periodic table, we see that C stands for carbon, atomic number 6, mass number 12.011. Protons. Protons is always the atomic number, so 6 protons. Electrons is always the same as protons, so if there are 6 protons, there are 6 electrons. And then neutrons is our little bit of math. Mass number minus atomic number, 12 minus 6 gives us 6. So protons, electrons, and neutrons for carbon are all 6. Now that you're all masters of the periodic table and reading symbol, name, mass number, atomic number, and how many protons, neutrons, and electrons are in each one of these elements, right next to this video on haiku, off to the right-hand side, there is a little quiz. That quiz is 5 questions. I want you to go answer those 5 questions before you get to class today. Whether you're watching this at night or during resource, you need to have those 5 questions answered before class today. Those 5 questions, you can go back and watch any part of this video to help you figure out what the answers to those questions are. So on the quiz, everybody should be getting 100%, and you'll be ready to do the activity in class today when you get there. So that's all I have for you today. I will see you in a little bit, or I will see you tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. But I hope you all have a great time. Watch the video if you have questions, and I will see you in class. Bye.
Do your homework, kids.